Hello and welcome into the KE Report. Shad and Corey here as your host, getting an update from Forum Energy Metals. Forum is traded on the TSX.V under the ticker FMC and on the OTCQB under the ticker FDCFF. And we're joined today with the president and CEO of Forum Energy Metals, Rick Mazur. And Rick, it's great to get you on the call to talk about some news that you put out to the market just recently on the 4th of February. It's talking about your Northwest Athabasca Project JV in Saskatchewan. And I think a lot of people, Rick, with Forum don't realize that you have 9 projects in the Athabasca Basin. A lot of the news flow and focus that we've been talking about lately has been in the Thelon Basin at your Aberdeen project. This is your 100% owned project, and that's where a lot of the drill results have been coming out from. But it's nice to remind people that you have these other projects here, and you have kind of a hybrid model where on these projects, your focus is on using other people's money in a prospect generator format. So maybe walk us through the vision of how Forum Energy Metals is really a hybrid company.
Yeah, Chad, Corey, great to be back on the show again here. And thanks for bringing up that whole point. I mean, that we have a ton of underlying value in the Athabasca Basin that is not being appreciated by the investment community. There's 9 drill-ready projects. 7 of them, we have 100% interest or we have controlling interest in them. 2 of them, we're minority partners with Orano on the Fur Island project. And we're minority partners in the Henday project with UEC, which is right next door to their Rough Rider deposit. So tons of underlying value in the Athabasca Basin, not appreciated by the market. Our focus is number 1, finding a new Tier 1 uranium mining district in the Thelon Basin. That's Rebecca's baby on our Aberdeen project, and that's where we're going to put most of our hard-earned shareholders' money. With regards to the Athabasca, we're going to take this hybrid project generator model, and we're going to use other people's money to advance these tremendous drill-ready projects. They're not just a piece of ground in the Athabasca Basin that has not been drilled or has not had enough work to drill. These are all drill-ready projects. And the idea is to, as a project generator, attract other companies to come in and explore these projects. Forum, with the expertise we have on our team, would like to continue operation of these projects. So we've got 2 on the go right now. Traction Uranium on our Grease River project. It's a more of a greenfields type project. But the one, as you mentioned in the most recent press release, is with Global Uranium on our Northwest Athabasca project.
So let's talk about that most recent news release then. Global Uranium is commencing exploration on this Northwest Athabasca project. Look, this is a JV between a number of different companies, very well-known companies in the uranium space. And Global Uranium, they are moving forward to dilute down some of your interest in the JV, but Global Uranium needs to spend, I think, about $20 million in a couple different stages. So we won't necessarily get into the math here because this is the start of the work for Global Uranium. Rick, can you tell us what Global Uranium, what the sort of exploration they're going to be doing early on here at this Northwest Athabasca project, please?
Yeah, well, let's be clear here. Forum is operator of the Northwest Athabasca option joint venture with Global. Global is the funding partner. So Global must spend $3 million in the first year of exploration, a commitment to start earning into its $9 million option to earn 51% of Forum's interest, or $20 million to earn 75% of Forum's interest in the project. Forum currently owns 43.3%, and as Global keeps putting money in, Forum does continue to increase its interest, and Global increases its interest in Forum's interest in tandem. It's a little complicated, but at the end of the day, the way this thing works, say we find 100 million pounds of uranium there. And I don't think that's out of the question. The geology is fantastic there. At today's price, that's $8 billion worth of uranium in the ground. If we end up at the end of the day with 10% of the project and NexGen, Cameco, and Orano end up with the other 15%, and Global has 75%, we have a ton of value with a 10% interest in this project if there's $8 billion worth of uranium in the ground.
Well, Rick, fingers crossed that you find 100 million plus pounds of uranium in the ground there. But let's talk about this year's drilling that will be going on here at the project. It looks like you're going to do about 2,000 meters of drilling, and this is on the back of some of the residual gravity and electromagnetic conductors. I can put a map to that down below so people can see both where the project's located in the Northwest Athabasca, but also some of the different data that you're using for drill targets. There's a number of targets on here. Any of these stand out as a priority target?
Hey, we're really excited to get back to this project, Shad. Last time we drilled it was in 2013. During that drill season and the winter of 2013, we tested 3 targets. We tested the Zone A, and we got 3 meters at 1.34% at 88 meters depth. So really shallow, high-grade basement mineralization. We also got 24.5 meters of 0.21% on our OP target with a 1.8% intercept over a half a meter within that very wide uranium-rich zone. That was a second drill intercept that we got that year. And again, that's shallow, like 145 meters. And in our Barney target, we got 2.3% over half a meter at about 169 meters. But at that time in 2013, the decline in uranium price, etc., there was just no interest in these fantastic results. And that was the last time we drilled it. So we're just really excited to get back in there, to follow up on some of these zones. There's over 20 targets easily on that property that are worthy of a drill hole and could find that big deposit. And we're certainly going to go back to Zone A, OP. We're going to go into Andy. The Andy target, it looks exceptional, and I think Rebecca would like to get back into that project as well.
So, Rick, do you have an idea of how much Global Uranium might spend this year on exploration or even in the next couple years at this project?
Well, they have a $3 million commitment this year. This winter program is budgeted at about $2.5 million. We're getting it set up so that, expecting success from the drilling this March, we expect the drill to start turning around March 1st. And we expect good results. And we'll have a camp set up there. And hopefully, with the expected results that we anticipate, Global may continue drilling in the summer. So can't speak for them, obviously, but definitely their first year commitment for 2025 will be spent this year.
Well, it's going to be exciting to see some drill results coming back out of this area after a 12-year hiatus. So especially when some of those targets that you mentioned, the Zone A, OP, and Barney, had some pretty good hits back in 2013. So we'll keep tabs on it as those results start coming out to the market. But just thinking about your broader package of 8 other projects besides this in the Athabasca, are there any other 1 or 2 projects you'd like to highlight?
Yeah, well, before we answer that question, the other thing that your listeners should know is there is an existing deposit on the Northwest Athabasca project. It's called the Maurice Bay deposit. It's 1.5 million pounds, small, but grading 0.6%. So this is a very prolific part of the Athabasca Basin for uranium. Yeah, the other projects that we have underway, I'm in discussions with other interested parties on some of our majority-owned projects. And I'd like to think that with UEC's work underway at Rough Rider that our Henday project could see some work in the future as well.
Rick, what has the mood been like with your conversations with some of the partners, your JV partners on these projects, and even what you're hearing in terms of on the exploration front for uranium? Because the uranium price has been pretty strong. It's still up at a pretty high level, but look, I know some of the, I guess, bullishness has come a little bit out of the stocks, but we're still dealing with a strong uranium price and a very good outlook for the uranium sector broadly.
Absolutely, Corey. Yeah, the uranium price is consolidated here. Last long-term contract, I believe, was $79 with a ceiling of 150. This is a medium to long-term game. We have to be persistent. We have to persevere through these tough times. And the price of uranium, I believe, will start getting back up to the point where it meets the demand for nuclear energy. So I certainly see a much higher uranium price over the next year.
Well, Rick, just before we wrap up, let's also remind people that you're not even done releasing the drill results from your Thelon Basin project, the Aberdeen project. You still have some of the targets that were going after unconformity style of mineralization. We've talked Tadagac, those results have been all put out, and we've also talked about Kavik, but just remind people that you're not even done reporting assays from the Thelon Basin.
Yeah, we're still putting together the geochemical data from our Ned, Loki, and our Ira sandstone contact unconformity targets that were drilled this year. We believe that there are much bigger deposits to be found at the unconformity in the Thelon than the basement deposits that have been discovered by Orano at Kigavik. Our Tadagac and Kavik basement deposits are very, very good exploration targets. Similar kind of geology and structure as, the NexGen deposits. We just got to keep drilling to get a good handle on the number of tons we have there. These other targets, and Rebecca has well over 20 of them that we'd like to drill this summer, are the ones that could have the much higher grade, higher tonnage type targets that we see in the Athabasca Basin. Cigar and MacArthur are definitely monsters, but we certainly think that the potential is there for sizable deposits at the unconformity with some very, very high grades in the Thelon Basin.
Well, Rick, keep us posted when those results come out to the marketplace. We'll get Rebecca back on to unpack some of those targets going after those higher grade unconformity style targets in the Thelon Basin, which is kind of a new concept in that basin where it's an old hat in the Athabasca Basin, and some of the big deposits have come from that type of exploration. So it'll be exciting to see how those come back. And then obviously looking forward to the camp getting set up and everything moving in the Athabasca Basin at the Northwest Athabasca Project. So lots going on with Forum Energy. And if folks listening in want to follow along with the news, definitely click on the link below this interview. It takes you right over to the Forum Energy Metals website, straight to their news section, where you can follow along with the updates or ask to get on their email list, and then you'll get them emailed to your inbox. So lots going on with Forum Energy. Rick, great having you on the show as always, and looking forward to our next conversation.
Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon.